My presentation today is going to be on the Kristen French Child Advocacy Center in St. Catharines, Ontario. It was founded on September 16th, 2008, and was registered as a charitable organization that serves Niagara's 12 municipalities, helping children and families cope with the life-altering impacts of child abuse. The Kristen French Child Advocacy Center was based upon Kristen French herself, who was a 15-year-old who was abducted in St. Catharines, Ontario by Carla Homolka and Paul Bernardo. She was held in captivity for 3 days and was murdered on April 19th, 1992, and her body was found on April 30th, 1992. A videotape made by Bernardo of Kristen's abduction and torture was used in evidence against him at his trial, and his murder sparked a debate in our country about the need for investigative collaboration and to reduce the potential trauma to victims and their families caused by the investigation and justice process. She was abducted only a few blocks from where the center now stands. Kristen's horrific experience provides a stark reminder of the extreme trauma and loss that can be caused by violence and abuse towards children and young people. As a community-driven initiative, Doug and Donna French were instrumental in helping to establish a center in Niagara that now houses an improved approach to child abuse investigations. So at the center, what they do is they deal with child trauma and child trauma cases, as well as abuse, and they also help with the recovery process of children that come into the center. So usually we have police, fax workers, and then as well the Kristen French staff working on site. The police are there for cases that have to do with in-home abuse or if a child is in danger, so that they can get a copy of the case and be able to do their investigation on the site, as well as the fax workers that are able to talk to the kids as well as do counseling and just find out their side of the story. And then the Kristen French workers they don't have a huge amount of help in what's happening with all of the children's stuff, with the child trauma and abuse and all that. They more deal with the behind the scenes in the fundraising for the building, as well as just making sure that the building is known, putting the word out about what Kristen French does and their story, and just trying to get as many people to be aware of them, because a lot of people are unaware about this center. So they go above and beyond to make sure that their story is told and to make sure that it is known that they are there and they are there to help. So a list of events that Kristen French Child Advocacy Center has hosted in the past and continues to host include Amazing Race Niagara, Kids Golfing for Kids, Playhouse Build and Auction, and the Spotlight Gala.
So about my client, she is 9 years old. She lives with her grandmother. She struggles with a learning disability as well as ADHD and ADD. She enjoys crafts and creating things, has supervised visits with her parents, and has dealt with abuse and neglect. The struggles of the client include being abused by her parents for several years, her parents suffering from substance abuses. She does not meet the proper requirements in school. She tends to struggle in school, and a lot of the time she's often put into the resource room just because her teachers do not want to deal with her because of the fact that she can be a distraction to other students. She has trust issues with new people, and she has difficulty concentrating in class because of her ADHD and ADD, and has issues building healthy relationships. The client's strengths include for her values and attitudes, she values friends and family. She has a very forgiving heart. She still loves her parents as if nothing ever happened and has a hard time comprehending the fact that her parents ever really did anything to her. She enjoys school and loves to learn, even though she's not given the opportunity to do so. She also believes in second chances. Um, For her skills and abilities, she's an amazing artist. She expresses herself through her art and loves to do arts and crafts. And she also mostly does it as a personal coping mechanism. And she also is very aware of how others treat her. But when it comes to her parents, she seems to have sort of like a blockage and doesn't seem to understand that her parents treated her the way that they did. She almost seems to have blocked that memory and that part of her life out of her brain, and because of the trauma associated with it, she is always constantly confused about why she cannot see her parents, and why that she is living with her grandmother, and why her life is the way that it is. The feelings and behaviors of the client include anger, which is more directed towards her grandmother for being her guardian instead of her parents. She, like I said, she doesn't understand why it is that she has to live with her grandmother, because she seems to have blocked that part of her memory out of her brain as to everything that has happened with her parents in the past 5 years. She's also angry with how her teachers treat her. She doesn't understand why exactly that she is being taken out of her classroom when she's at school, because of the fact that she is very disruptive to her other classmates. She often is isolated into another room or being put with another teacher. So a lot of her anger is shown towards the fact that she can't just be with her regular classmates and she has to be by herself. Also, not understanding what, like I said, why her parents treated her the way that she did, and all of her anger mostly stems from there. She also shows excitement. When she is given her favorite activities or asked about things she likes to do, she seems to show a lot of excitement. A few of her favorite activities included arts and crafts, drawing, LOL dolls, and just playing outside at recess, which is something that she's often not given the chance to do. Her happiness stems from when she talks about her parents. She talks about how she loves having a family and how much she loves her parents and how much she wants to be able to just be with them and do fun things with them. How when she was younger, she got to do all these great things with them, like go to the zoo in the summertime and go skating. And a lot of her happiness, just in general, stems from her parents. She does show a lot of sadness as well when talking about her parents. She's sad about the fact that she doesn't live with her parents, and she's sad about the fact that the only time that she does see her parents is when it is a supervised visit. So she can't spend any quality time with them because of the fact that there is always somebody else in the room with them. She also is sad about the difference between herself and her peers. Her peers often talk about their families and what they got to do that weekend, or just about their moms and dads, and obviously it creates a barrier between herself and her friends because she doesn't have parents in that same sense because of the fact that she lives with her grandmother, and her grandmother obviously can't make up for being both of her parents. She also has, because she's also sad because of the distance from her parents. She obviously would prefer to be living with them full time, but because of the fact that her parents struggle from substance abuse and they also did abuse her a lot. And her abuse from her parents often stem from the fact that she isn't a very hyper child, and she does have a lot of energy, and I feel like the parents, they just in general couldn't keep up with her a lot of the time. So a lot of the times, to get her to calm down, they took out their anger on her, and it resulted in her being abused. And lastly, she shows resentment towards her parents for making her life the way it is. She she'll talk highly about her parents, but also at the same time she will be very angry towards her parents because of the fact that she can't live a normal life because of the way that they've made things out for her. And she shows a lot of resentment, and it shows a lot in her activities and how she just acts as a person. How the agency makes a difference is it ends stigmas placed around child abuse. A lot of people believe that when children are abused or when they're in a rough family situation, the child should automatically just be removed from the family and placed in foster care, and that is the best option for them. But a lot of the time, family counseling and other therapies and things such as that, and especially talking to fax workers, they just want the family to be together. It's never the case that they want families to be separated. They want families to stay together because that always is the best option for the child. And usually they take like precautions so that obviously the child is safe, but if they can make it so that the child will still be able to stay with their family, then that's what they will try to do. They also create the resistance for repetitive behavior in the future, which means that they work with the parents and make so that, in this case, they made the parents get clean, made sure that both of them are going to AA meetings, and the one parent did need to go to rehab, unfortunately, but it did help, obviously, for their child's future. Also, they created a safe place for children. So, the agency makes sure that the center is very like child friendly. At the agency, we have two separate rooms on the main floor, and they're for families to go into, and they have toys and whatnot for the kids to play with, and they can spend time with their families in there. Say that in the situation where there were supervised visits, the families would be able to play with their child if in the case that they were unable to see them on a regular day-to-day basis. Also, children that come in and talk to fax workers or talk to the police, when they're leaving the building, they're allowed to take one stuffed animal or one blanket home with them as kind of like a security thing, but also to thank them for coming in to share their story and to show that they are not alone in this fight and that they have the support that they need and that the problems that they are facing right now are problems that they will not have to face forever. The center also offers support, and anytime that a child or even a family member needs something like some sort of support, they lack something at home, something just isn't right, the center is always available and they're always ready to take that extra step to help families to get to the spot that they need to be in. They're always willing to listen to your story and do everything to help you. The police are always willing to listen to your side of the story and make sure that the situation you're put in is going to work out for the better for you and that you're not going to have to live with this trauma for the rest of your life. They also offer counseling and help with cases, of course, and they fix families if possible rather than tear them apart. And lastly, these are my best resources. So the website I chose was endchildabuseNiagara.com. The article was PsychNet, and that was a article just on child abuse and the effects of it, and then the government document, of course.